Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Juliana Dunn-Walker, and this is all about creating effective presentations for adult learners. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is going to be this word, andragogy. It's like pedagogy, but without the content and more about the deliverance. So this is a noun, and it's the method and practice of teaching adult learners. This word's going to come up a lot when we talk about the next slide. So Malcom Knowles wrote a book in 1973 about the lifelong adult learner, and he had some assumptions. In fact, he had 5 assumptions about the adult learner. So let's look through a few of them. The first one is the self-concept. This is when the adult learner is moving towards a self-directed type of learning, where they're seeing what's important to them and they're learning about it. There's also experience, and the fact that we continually grow and continually bring on experiences in our lives that's going to help with our knowledge and our content base. The next is the readiness to learn. I remember a lot of days when I was a kid that I was not ready to go to school and to learn, but as an adult, I love it and I want to be able to do more of it. And a lot of adults are like that. Then there's the orientation to learn. This is where we see that there might be a problem and we find a way to find a solution for that. This could be learning things new on YouTube, looking up how-tos and tutorials, or this could be reading a book and finding the information. And that all comes back to the fact that adult learners are motivated. There's a reason that we want to learn something. It's either going to make us a better family person, or it's going to make us better at our job. It's going to make us more than and better than what we are currently. So how can we apply these into our professional development and into our presentations to make things better? The first thing we can do is we can look at the fact that adults are motivated to learn. And by looking at that, we can come up with presentations that are going to teach them the things that are relevant to them, that help them and help them learn and grow. We can also make sure that the way that we design our presentations speaks to them as a person and as to what they've been through and what they're learning. So this could be making sure that our presentations are problem-centered, because that piques their interest and gets them to continue to learn and grow. It could be making sure that we have regular feedback throughout the presentation, or it could be the fact that we add in visuals and graphics and information that's going to pique their interest. Now, if you're anything like me, you're going to be asking yourself, what are some best practices that I can do to make sure that my professional development comes across in the best possible light? The first thing is making sure that your presentation is relevant. Relating to them as a person in relevance, making sure that you give background information, stories of things that work for you and how you applied this information, or relating that information on what they're learning to how it can best work for them. Relating and relevance are super important to a great presentation. The next thing we can do is we can break it up. It's important to note that kids do a lot better when we do small segments and chunks of information, and adults do the same. They need time to compute, analyze, think about what it is that they just learned, and to be able to figure out how they're going to best apply it to their lives. So breaking up that information is going to be key and vital. And finally, make it visually stimulating. Add in graphics, put in information that's going to get their interest. As soon as they see a pie chart or a graph, it's going to get their interest. But also, there's also an aesthetic that I think a lot of adults and teachers in general like to be able to look at. Nobody wants to look at an old style PowerPoint. They want to see the nice, rich presentations. So make it visually stimulating for your audience. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is making sure that you are getting rid of any of those old gender biases, any of those weird practices that people would have of trying to disclude somebody. Your presentations should be inclusive, and they should include every single person. Getting rid of biases in your presentation, such as careless jokes or not doing the proper research to make sure that you have the correct facts. those can be things that can be harmful and hurtful to others, and making sure that we steer clear of those not only make you a better professional, but also makes your presentation a lot better. A strategy I would like to urge you to do is find somebody, a colleague, coworker, friend, family member that is sensitive to these types of things, or making sure that you send it to somebody who is on the same wavelength of you as being a professional and wanting things to be put out in the best possible light. Have them go over it first. Make sure that you have that soundboard, that person that can tell you what it looks like. And yes, you want to be able to relate to those that are in your audience or those that are learning from you, but you don't have to take it that extra step and put in a careless joke. So be very careful about the stories you tell and the jokes that you give. And without further ado, this was my video on how to give a great presentation to adult learners. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you next time.